good morning. It's still morning for a few more minutes, right, Lisa?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's still pretty early in the morning. Actually. Not super early, but yeah, good morning.
End of my day. We're getting toward the end of the morning shift here.
I psyched myself out. I was like, wait, afternoon? Not yet.
Right.
Anyway, happy late morning.
Yes. Maybe we're still in morning vibes too, because it's been a little chilly lately and it's been feeling like it's tough to warm up here today as well.
Yeah, and it's we just kind of got out of that late summer.
Yeah.
Now we're going into that early fall. We have a few things we're talking about today. We're talking about some frost, some fall colors, chance for northern lights exposure later this evening, and we're talking drought in the valley. So a lot of things to get to, and all kind of falling into, well, most falling into that realm of early fall.
Yeah, it's really kind of all fall related in some ways, and just kind of thoughts about, okay, what does this mean given that it's happening in fall, like the drought. So we'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But with fall you expect frost, right? We have been kind of behind in having our first frost in a lot of areas. In fact, I think we talked about this in a previous visit, but we're looking at our averages being in September, and in some instances, some places have been 3 weeks behind average on getting our first frost. So we have a first alert weather day for tomorrow, because while we have seen some frosty mornings, including this morning, Boston got down to 30 degrees.
Oh wow, did it really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I've actually have a graphic that's posted on our Facebook page that if you scroll down, you'll see the numbers from this morning. But yeah, it got really cold in the Northern Valley where we were clear. And then in the Southern Valley, we had some clouds helping us out. Well, tomorrow we have a first alert weather day because it might be our first widespread frost kind of day. So I do want to get into kind of the details on what that means. So again, we have that first alert weather day for tomorrow, and this is not because we've got a big storm coming or anything like that. First alert weather days can, alert us to that, but we also want to give you a heads up when weather's going to impact your life.
Yeah.
And, we want to give you that heads up. This could be the first time your plants might be threatened by frost.
Yeah. So, like wear a jacket.
Sure.
That
too.
because we've kind of been lulled into this false sense of security.
Right.
I went out exercising last night in the evening, and I just remember kind of getting out there, and I'm like,
It's feeling a little
I
chilly.
think I need a sweatshirt. And it was the first time in quite some time, but we're getting there, yeah.
We're into sweater weather season.
Yes, sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
I like that. That's
we
good.
Just keep doing it back and forth, just like in the SNL skit. Anyway, so we do have sweater weather happening here for tomorrow morning. Friday morning is the time of our first alert weather day. Widespread frost, and by using that term, I don't mean that it's going to be frosted over the entire valley, but areas of frost are possible. Northern Valley and Southern Valley tomorrow. So just keep that in mind. A couple of things we'll talk about here just with impacts. Temperatures ranging from near freezing. Again, we saw one spot drop below freezing overnight last night, again in Boston, to about 39 degrees. And we may see some places even in the 40s. So it's possible that you won't experience that frost, but it's always good to be prepared just in case. So just a reminder that if you still have some of your gardens going, because it has been warm enough for that. If you've got some potted plants that you want to keep going, because we've got some good weather next week, that will be a hope to keep your plants going once we get out of this little chill that we're seeing. Make sure you're bringing them in if you can, or cover them up too if they're planted in a bed. You can do that as well. Lay a sheet on top of it, or something that just provides a light layer.
Got to do something. I remember I have a little money tree, and there's lots of different kinds of money trees. But I had it out on the porch one day, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. He's going to think it's a vacation. His name's Kendrick.
Oh, Kendrick,
And so Kendrick was enjoying his little vacation, and then he almost died. And then I'm like, I'm a horrible plant parent.
Was it just a little too cold that night?
Yeah, it was just one of those things like this, where, it drops big time, and I saw it the next day, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And luckily, amazing recovery. He's doing great.
Good.
Now he's permanently an indoor plant. I'm not even gonna, but yeah, you can have a plant just straight up go kaput with stuff like this.
Right. So yeah, be sure to protect your Kendricks of the world. You don't want anything bad to happen to them. So yeah, that's tonight. We could see north and south being impacted by the potential for frost. And just a reminder how frost forms. Of course, you need temperatures around freezing. A lot of people will ask, well, the forecast is for say 36 degrees. That's not freezing. Well, the forecast is for the air temperature
Yeah,
reading.
yeah.
We talked about
and
that
this is
before.
really interesting because,
Yeah.
you know, like it is going to be cooler. That you say the hotter it rises.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Oftentimes, even just 5 feet off the ground, where a lot of our sensors are, can be warmer than the surface. So just know that that's why we say 36 and a chance for frost. It's not that we won't be freezing at the surface. It's just that we're talking about air temperatures.
Yeah.
Because 5 feet above the ground is where a lot of us stand, right? When we're standing.
Yeah,
That's where a lot of us are. So that's where those measurements are taken. So anyway, so we need temperatures near freezing. You need some clear skies and some calm winds, because clear skies allows any heating from the previous day to escape a lot easier.
Okay.
And calm winds just allows the air to settle down. A lot of times you get some wind, and that helps to keep the air moving, and it keeps it from cooling. Just like our bodies, if we're moving around, we stay warmer than, say, if we're just sitting there and letting that wind blow across us. That tends to cool us down. And just looking at our forecast for Friday or Fargo tonight for Friday, we're going with the high or low of 38 degrees. So at that number, we may not see frost in Fargo. It would be our coolest temperature of the season so far. So
Okay.
even if we don't see frost, just be ready for that. And right now, sky conditions look clear. Here's the one kind of caveat. We have the wind starting to turn south tomorrow, and if it picks up enough, that could be enough to mitigate temperature drop in some areas. But
Interesting,
yeah,
okay.
but I still think we're going to see several spots dropping into the 30s here for tonight. So,
Okay.
and in fact, I think I have our forecast map up here. We're looking at mid to some upper 30s, with the potential of dropping a little bit farther down from there as well. But you can see there are even some places that may stay in the 40s overnight as well. So, but north to south, 30s here in our forecast. So again, be ready for it.
So it is going to be it's going to be cold tomorrow morning.
Yes, yeah,
This is like maybe even, it's not quite winter coat weather, but like
Maybe
this
not.
is even more than sweater weather. This
Yeah.
is like
It's
maybe a beanie.
Sure,
maybe
there
you're
you
breaking
go.
out the beanie and
Yeah.
like a coat, a respectable coat.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be spending more time outside than just
Yeah.
running from your car to the door at work or at school. You're going to want that extra layer, and perhaps long sleeves with a jacket on top of that.
Yeah.
So definitely want to be prepared for that. We will start to see temperatures recover though. So just note that first alert weather day for tomorrow is specifically for the morning. Once
Okay.
we get out of the frost, we've got a lovely day ahead actually.
Okay, so that we're going to see a substantial rise.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
great.
And 70s into the weekend and next week as
Okay,
well. Might be a couple of
okay.
days in the 60s, but it's going to be warm.
And there's
still.
some good stuff going on this weekend too. Some good outdoor
Yes,
activities
yes.
going on in the valley, and so that's great that it will still be a nice weekend for some of those early fall activities and
Right.
those festivals and such.
Right, exactly. And maybe you're thinking about doing some leaf peeping.
Ooh.
This weekend, and this
Okay.
is actually good weather for it. And we'll explain this here in your fall foliage. update.
Whoa! That was the
Fancy
graphics. Whenever I have anybody from weather, I always get my mind blown by the graphics. Did you do that magic?
Sure did.
Well
we're
done.
not just meteorologists; we're graphical artists. Is that what they're called? Graphics artists. There we
Graphic
go.
designer, graphic artist.
There we go.
Whatever,
We'll go with that. Yeah.
You're doing good at it, whatever
Yes,
it's called.
Yes. It's part of the fun of the job, getting to make fun graphics. But yeah, we're starting to see things really turn. So here's a look at, well, before we get to the latest, I was mentioning how nights like tonight are good. So I wanted to talk about the science of fall color, how that
Oh,
happens.
very cool. Okay.
Well, we won't get too into the weeds, but basically, with cooler weather, the tree's chlorophyll, and you probably remember learning about that in your school's biology class. It's the green, it's
Yeah.
part of the plant that makes it, the plant, the leaves green.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it starts to cool down, the chlorophyll breaks down. And so that color dies out essentially, that chemical does. And that leaves behind other chemicals that can cause those color changes. And so we're looking at, different, these are
Oh, wow.
some very technical names. We'll say carotene, that one is easy to say, is associated with orange color if that's in a certain
Like
species
carrots.
of tree. Yeah, there you go.
If you
yeah.
have a science quiz,
There you go.
write that down on your flashcard. Carotene.
There
orange.
you go. Yes, exactly. And if it has what's this one? Xanthophyll. There we go. It would be more yellow.
I thought that was allergy medication.
There you go. It sounds like
Doesn't it?
medication, doesn't it? Well, it is a chemical, and it helps to kind of be that background color once the green goes away.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how fall colors develop, and we often have years. I don't know if when you pay attention each year, some years seem more vibrant than others.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get more bright colors more likely when you have a warm late summer which we've seen.
Yeah.
Or I should say a dry late summer, dry and warm. In fact, September was the warmest
All applies.
and driest on record.
Yeah.
And then autumn has more sunny days and cool nights. Well, we've had a lot of sunny days. We haven't had a lot of cool nights, but now
Right.
we're kind of getting into the cool nights the next couple of nights, last
Love
night
that.
and again today. And that may start that rapid change, that breakdown of the chlorophyll that we were talking about.
Okay.
We'll start to see those colors.
And so it may really start ramping up is what you're saying.
I think so. We may see that soon here. And we're already kind of getting into the midst of it. As you can see, our map here has changed quite a bit from the Minnesota DNR. You can see a lot of orange on the map where I'm putting us near peak in some spots
Wow,
because
okay.
in orange, that's 50 to 75% of peak color. And this is coming in from a lot of the state parks. So Buffalo River State Park there in Clay County, back over toward Lake Itasca, toward Bemidji, a lot of orange here. So they're really starting to see halfway color or even more than that at this point in Minnesota.
Now let me ask you, because you're seeing these specks of no change here.
Sure, yeah.
And so how does that work where you have this near peak throughout several
Some places
regions
and then,
here,
yeah.
and then you have places over here like by Duluth where it's actually hardly any change.
Well, one thing is, it's kind of, north to south, essentially. So farther north, we're cooler, we're losing more sunlight in the northern valley. That's also, of course, a factor in the leaves changing. If the chlorophyll is not getting any energy from the sun, then as it starts to slow down, it just naturally starts to break down as well. So we're losing daylight first in the northern part of Minnesota as compared to the southern part of Minnesota. So you can see that trend a little bit more there.
Okay.
Beyond that, it probably depends on weather as well. They've had more rain down in that area over the summer. That could be a factor. And I don't know this for sure, but that can be a factor as well. And then just reports. If they're not getting a lot of reports coming in from this area, maybe they need an update from that area as well. But
that
in
could
general,
be a tip, sure.
yeah. And I do think it's patchy. We often see
Yeah.
that in our own community itself. Some areas where changes are happening rapidly, and then some spots where it's not. Even on our trees, some parts of the tree turn, and then others don't. It's just very interesting.
It is. It is.
Okay, so that's the fall foliage report. We're really seeing things turn. So this weekend would be a good weekend to get out and check it out. And then heading into, further into October, we'll be seeing those colors change more rapidly. So now's your chance if you haven't had that
Any
opportunity.
recommendations for good places to view?
Well, I'm a big fan of the state parks in Minnesota.
Yeah, so Buffalo River.
Buffalo River's great. Maplewood's great because they have more of the maple trees, so you get more of that color
And
going
the big
on.
leaves, very cool.
Yeah, Lake Itasca, beautiful as well. I sadly have not made it up to some of those state parks up in the farther northern part of the state, but I'd like to at some point. So if you have any recommendations, I'd love to hear them. But again, yeah, those are some great spots. And same goes for North Dakota too. I don't want to ignore North Dakota. We're seeing colors change as well. Pembina Gorge area up along the border is beautiful as well. So
Excellent.
lots of places to go where we've got lots of trees. And I just wanted to show a couple of pictures we've been getting in this season. This one is so vibrant.
Wow.
Yeah, Twin Valley, Minnesota. This was, in fact, several days ago from Margit Baki, who sent this one in. Again, I always mentioned it can be patchy even within a community. This tree is completely changed. Meanwhile, we're still green and other trees nearby. So it's just interesting how that works.
Yeah, that's a beautiful picture.
Yeah, that was a great one. And then a more
Holy
recent one.
smokes,
Yeah, this
look
was
at this.
Yeah, this was from yesterday.
Okay.
This was from the Akeley area. Let me see if I can get the name to. There we go. I want to make sure we credit Debbie for sharing this awesome picture. This is from 11th Crow Wing Lake near Akeley, and just that mirror reflection off the water is just
I
gorgeous.
love stuff like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and the chairs there just look so peaceful right there. And you can see the fall colors changing in that photo as well. And this was from yesterday. And I do have our Skycam up right now. And you can see it's not a huge change, still lots of green as we're looking over Fargo, but the tippy tops of the trees here are turning yellow.
Yeah.
I often find that so interesting when that happens. I say that it looks like it's like broccoli dipped in mustard.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, you see that it kind of change from top down, but it's happening in
I don't know if I've ever tried that. Have you tried that?
No.
I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I'm I might do a spicy brown.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how it goes.
A little extra pizzazz to your mustard flavor.
Yeah, I had mustard on salmon recently.
Interesting.
Really good.
Okay.
I was shocked.
All right.
So you never know with mustard.
All
anyway.
right, we're getting some culinary tips here this morning. That's great. But yeah, we are starting to see things turn. So, and the other thing I want to point out is, as we transition to our next topic, is we'll be watching the skies. It was a little cloudy this morning in Fargo. That actually helped to prevent our temperatures from dropping as much, because clouds act like a blanket layer, essentially.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so it
Okay.
helps to trap in. We talked about this a moment ago, but it helps to trap in the heat. So we're seeing those clouds kind of clear away. So that again will help to contribute to
frost.
temperatures
Sure.
dropping and potential frost. But we also want to see the skies clear, because we have
Here we
the
go.
potential of seeing this, the possibility
Okay.
of aurora tonight.
And you can really see that it's a pretty strong potential.
Yeah, we have
Could be a great night for it.
Yeah, we have a potential for a geomagnetic storm here tonight, and you can see a lot of red here on the map. And if you look at the red line here, that's the kind of cutoff viewing line. It's all the way
So
down
you're
into
even,
other parts
yeah,
of the
you're
West.
even getting it a little bit in Illinois.
Sure.
Just kind of missing Indiana here.
But here in the valley, we're definitely in that view zone. If this pans out, it's very tough to predict aurora, but this time of year, we often see aurora more vibrant around the equinoxes as well. So we have a good chance here if we can get some clear skies, and the solar wind, the geomagnetic storm happens and arrives at the time that we would be looking for it, which is in the overnight hours tonight. So timing is important as well. So something to keep in mind.
Now, a lot of people work Friday morning,
Sure.
myself included.
Sure.
Probably won't be able to get out and see this, unfortunately. Is there a chance for the rest of the weekend?
It's possible it may continue on through Friday, so Friday night might be another night to watch
Okay.
out for that. Can't guarantee that, but it's a possibility. We could see that happen.
But this is the night. This is
Right now, we're looking at
Okay.
tonight being a good night for it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a fun thing heading into fall. And again, around fall, around the equinox, we often see northern lights. Okay, so moving on to the next thing. And this is not such great news, depending on what you're up to this fall. We are now classified in drought in some areas. So in yellow, this is considered on the scale D0 drought, or abnormally dry in yellow. So we've got a lot of places in Minnesota and in southeastern North Dakota, northeastern South Dakota in that abnormally dry category.
Sure.
But in the latest drought monitor update today, we were just classified into moderate drought in places here in Otter Tail County, the Wadena, Park Rapids area, and then stretching all the way back to Duluth. And that's no surprise. It's been so dry lately, and that's led to conditions starting to dry out. We've had some concerns about fire danger with dry fuels out there as well. So we're watching for that here as we make our way into the fall season. It can be good from a standpoint of farmers trying to get out and do the harvest. You're not dealing with wet fields. The conditions are nice and dry for that. But at the same end, also heading into the winter months, having less soil moisture is good for, if you're thinking about floods. We all think about floods when we get
sure.
into winter time.
Good
how
point.
much, how much snow we get, and how much soil moisture is a contributing factor. So if we have lower soil moisture, that's one, ingredient from the flood formula that's removed. The problem is once you get into winter and freeze up, you're starting your next season, your spring season, at a deficit, and
Which
you've
is
got
not ideal.
Yeah, you're counting on rain right away in the season. So that's something to think about. Right now we are dry, and we're looking for that to last for a little while. And you can check our forecast on the VNL Weather app the next 10 days. Not too many good chances for rain. In fact, chances are very low.
Well, we'll just see what happens later in the month. Lisa, thank you so much. Always a pleasure, and we covered a lot today.
We sure did.
Some really cool stuff. If you have a chance, go check out the Northern Lights. That looks just, it's always magnificent.
It's always great. And I just want to put out a quick call for photos.
Oh, absolutely.
Northern Lights, but also fall colors. We want to be able to share everybody's fall colors as they're changing over. So if you head out today or into the weekend, share them with us. You can upload those to the VNL Weather app. There's a submit button right at the bottom of the screen. Nice and
Super easy.
Yeah.
Take the picture with your phone, submit it on your phone, bada bing, bada boom.
Exactly.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time on Valley News Now.